right, I'm here with James. How are you doing, man?
Good, doing good.
Good.
Yeah, excited to be here. So I'm excited to have a good chat.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. I following you on social media a little bit, and then I was listening to your podcast with Cam Haynes. That was great conversation. I love what he's doing too, and
Yeah,
I just feel like when you guys were talking, I just loved your approach to things, and I was like, man, I'd love to have a talk with that guy. It sounds like a interesting cat. So, for I know a little bit about what you do, but I'm interested to learn more. So, for the people listening, want to give us a rundown on who you are, where you come from, what you're all about?
yeah. So my name's James Visser, and I'm primarily probably known now for running the Bow Disciples YouTube page, as well as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then our website, bowdisciples.com, where basically we film year round, doing archery, having a blast, shooting all over the U.S., hunting. So yeah, that's the nutshell of what I'm doing now. And then prior to this, was a pro bike rider for a few years from 2010 to 13, basically, and then got into real estate, which I still do now, just not nearly as actively. But I still do it, a few deals a year, and I did that 2015 till current, and really was like my full-time thing till probably 2023. So
Okay.
yeah, love all that stuff.
Yeah, that's that's awesome. So, you were pro bike rider. You talking like BMX, dirt bikes, what, all the above?
Yeah, so slope style stuff. So like
Okay.
essentially mountain biking, but on really big features on like a slope, sort of
Yeah.
like you would see slope style snowboarding, but on mountain bikes. So I did that, yeah, for a few years, traveled all over, rode really big events, photo shoots, video shoots, kind of the same thing I'm doing now, but I would say now we've pretty much taken all of the production in house. Back then, a lot of it was, but not quite all of it. And now it's pretty much entirely myself and the team filming, and then I'm editing and posting and all that stuff. So yeah, it's been fun to transition it into hunting and archery because
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed making videos and doing content. And I've been a bow hunter my whole life, so it just made sense to eventually start filming that stuff. And yeah, we're 6 years in. So in August, we'll be 7 years on the channel. And yeah, just kind of went full time with it really last year, 2024. So this is our second year kind of full time.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's been a blast.
That's awesome, man. I mean, yeah, you guys spit out a lot of content. I see it all the time. It's like, man, another
Yeah.
video, another video. It's great. And
Yeah.
benefit of doing it in house too. It seems like, it's people that you're familiar with, that your friends or family, and you can it's really easy to be yourself uh,
Yeah.
when that's going on, and you can really seems like you guys have an awesome time, which obviously hunting's always an awesome time. But yeah, so what, the Bow Disciples thing, where did that come from? What's the backstory there?
It just kind of came from a joke, actually. So me and my buddy Nick, we used to have this thing we call each other Team Big Dick was what we called our. And one day his old lady goes, "Hey, I know what that means." And he goes, "What, Bow Disciple?" He just said it like as a joke. And I was like, that's catchy. I like that. So when we started a channel, that was the name we went with. It's good on merch. It off the tongue well. It's
Hell
kind of
yeah.
like unique. So that's what we went with. But yeah, it just came random and kind of funny like that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. Hey, and some things, I always say it, but I'm a big believer. Hold on, let me mute that. I'm a big believer in everything kind of happens exactly how it's supposed to, whether we like it or not. And things like that always come to fruition. And it's just like you could have
Yeah.
never, if you could have never planned it, you could have never, it just falls, it falls in your lap and you're like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, it's super random. But one of the things that about often is, we have a merch store where we sell, shirts, hats, some archery products, and then like our event tickets because we do an event every year in May, 3D shoot.
Oh, cool.
But part of the benefit of doing, channel easily could have been called like James Visser Archer, James Visser Hunting, which is fine. But the nice part about having a brand name is it makes it a lot easier to make cool merch. Like no one
Yeah.
wants to buy a merch that says Visser Hunter. Really, that's goofy. I kind of goofy to buying something's like name, but
Yeah.
because it's like a brand name, it kind of becomes more of a movement and a brand, that so we
Right.
got kind of fortunate in that way too. Like you said, I mean, everything kind of works out, it seems.
Yeah. That's something I was randomly last night kind of thinking about that. I had a realization about, there's a lot with social media and everything. Everybody's trying to brand themselves and create this image and all this stuff. But I was thinking about that, and to a point it works. But there's a lot of people that I've learned from, that I've talked to, and they're talking about turning yourself into a brand, which is great. But I was
Mm,
thinking about that. I'm like, if you yourself are the brand, which is kind of to your point, then once you start, if you get some traction, you get big, like how it's hard to walk away when you're the face of everything, when it's all you and it's your name and it's that. I mean,
for sure.
when it's not, if you can build a brand that's not necessarily your name, well, you're the face of it. But if it's like Bow Disciples, right?
Yeah.
When you are, at a point where, okay, I don't need to do all this management, I can just go hunt and, ride my trails and do all the stuff that I enjoy doing, and I can kind of leave this to my kids or whoever. You It's easier to walk away from, like there's people, especially in real estate, do that all the time,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
where
Real
it's
estate's
just,
a perfect example.
yeah,
You see people nowadays, the team structure is super popular. And it's smart when you brand it with a name other than your own, because the reality is, I plan to do Bow Disciples content for a long time and grow the brand a
of
lot
course.
bigger and bigger. But say I ever wanted to exit and sell it, it's a lot easier to sell something that isn't a person directly attached to it. I mean, of course, I'm attached to it the most, but I almost feel like you can grow a personal brand within
Right.
a brand, a personal brand within a brand, but it's kind of hard to do an additional brand to just a personal brand. So I always think when people are coming up with names for a channel, business, or a real estate team, I'm not saying always a name is a bad call, but I think oftentimes if you can get a little creative, you may, be better off,
Right.
kind of.
Yeah, 100%. So real estate, you say, you kind of transitioned out. What was that, something that was like, okay, was that after you were done riding and that was just kind of like the next move, like I got to make money somehow, and
Yeah,
or
yeah. So I've always worked, ever since I was
yeah.
a kid. First, I got into my first job was feeding horses when I was probably 12 or 11 or something. And I would ride over there every day on a quad, a couple miles, feed horses. It was 14 of them. I'd feed them every day, take care of them, give them water. And I did that year round. So it didn't matter if it was Christmas, like whatever. So I was always working. My parents always made, I had to buy my first car, all my own
Yep.
stuff. So I never was getting anything, other than necessities. Like if I wanted something, I had to go get money for it, even when I was real little. So got into biking, made some money back then, not a lot, but when you're, I was very young, 17, 18,
Okay.
19. So I didn't need a ton of money, living at home, and there was plenty
Right.
of money for what I was doing at the time. Then when I got out of that, I had never really had a regular W-2 job, ever
Yep.
up to that point. So I got a job with one of my sponsors actually at the time, a bike company, doing essentially retail sales. So I was selling from like the wholesaler to the shops and doing
Mm-hmm.
a lot of calls and stuff. And I did not really like that job that much, but I did it for a while. And I was racking my brain, like trying to figure out what my next step was, because I didn't go to college and I wasn't riding anymore. And it was kind of like, okay, I got to figure something out. Luckily, I made the decision to stop biking when I was super young. I was like 21. So I knew I had
Okay.
time to figure something out. So then I got a job at this power plant for
Interesting.
maybe a year or two. And that was a sick job, actually. I got like, I had my schedule was 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. And it was a perfect schedule for
That's
me
not
at the
too bad.
time. Yeah, it's great. And job was, I had my own office and um, it was great. Easy, not easy, but like a job I could do. Pay was okay, especially at my age and at the time.
Yeah.
And I could have just dropped anchor and kept doing that. But after a year or two, I had this pull to get back into something where I was, an entrepreneur again and could essentially grow the business how I like to grow business, which was through video. That's how I grew my
Yeah.
biking career. And I had this desire to do video. And for some reason, one day it clicked. Well, I could do real estate, in California, prices are super high. The money would be pretty good if even if I could do two sales my first year, it would be enough to like do it the next year and then I could grow it. That was
Yeah.
my thought. So I got into it, did schooling at my power plant job because there was a lot of downtime. So I did all the schooling while getting paid, which was nice.
Always.
Yeah. And then, got into real estate and it was kind of crazy. I had saved up enough money to where I I had my license and I figured, okay, I'll quit my power plant job this day. I'll have this much money saved, and hopefully that and spending money on ads and different things I'm going to try to do. I won't run out of money before I close my first deal. Right, is my thought. It didn't pan out. I get out of the job and immediately my car blows a head gasket.
Of course. Oh, geez.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm low on funds so fast. Luckily, my parents, were whatever happy to support. I don't know that I ever ran out of money, but it was very close, closest I've ever been for sure. And I'm grinding so hard, couldn't drive for a while. Like it was a disaster, but I was working so hard to get a deal, and finally, I got a listing. Yeah, I got a listing actually, and at the time, it was like I'm gonna guess like 640 or something,
Okay.
which now it would be like 1.4 or something,
Yeah.
but at the time it was like 630, and it was not selling super great. The market wasn't on fire back then. I want to say that was probably 2015 or 16.
Okay.
So it wasn't a bad market, but stuff wasn't just flying off like a couple years later. But long story short, it took a while. Finally sold it. I think for 642, if I remember. But I ended up getting the buyer as well, so I double ended that deal and got a check for 25 grand, right, for that
There you go.
transaction. And that felt insane, because I
Oh,
had
yeah.
grinded
I know.
so hard and was like out of money. And then I by far got the most money I had ever got, at one. And then after that, yeah, it wasn't, it's after that, I had feeling like, okay,
So you got your first deal done, ton of money.
yeah, for me. And then at the time, and then, yeah, got more consistent with it, started to grow it, like get more consistency in the sales, kind of out a bit, and then yeah, 2018 started doing YouTube just for fun. No one was watching it really, but having fun, and I missed the side of filming. Like I still enjoy real estate content, but not as much. I enjoyed, doing bike riding or something along those lines. So it into kind of fashion stuff again.
Yeah.
And then, over time, got monetized a year later. Didn't really make any money, but then started to merch, started doing different, but more so just messing around. And then I got to the point where real estate there was out here there's such little inventory,
Sure.
and I don't see that problem improving anytime soon. So I kind of was reading the room from when I started and to now how much trans like how many less transactions were happening per year, and it's drastic. I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably a 75% reduction from when I started, because I are a little smarter now in some ways. Like, I think people know sell if they can avoid it. And I think so people hold more.
Oh yeah.
And number two, there's no building basically. So it's going down, 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 down. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm putting a lot of time into Apple's brand, and I need to either like make it work to where I can just do that and all my real estate deals will be bonuses. Or if it doesn't work, I need to really focus hard on real estate and take super mega serious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I flipped the switch, and luckily, it's worked quite well. I mean, since then, yeah, our website has at least, and our sponsorship deals went from basically $0 to a lot more than that for this year, and our ad revenue's gone up, and so it's worked really well. And then thankfully, I do have a rental as well, rental property that cash out $1,000
There
a
you
month,
go.
so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. And then yeah, and then I have it's like a flip out in Georgia that I do with my IRA.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. And just different things, you know. And obviously, when a real estate comes along, I'm still more than happy
Of
to
course.
help with the the transaction. So long as I have time, which luckily almost an entire deal I can do remote. So
Right.
I'll still make that work. So last year I think I only did one deal. This year I think I'll probably do maybe two or three, which I think in a perfect world for me at this point, that's like what I would like to do real estate wise is
Sure.
bang out motorcycles, grow the business and all those different avenues. And then do one to probably max deals a year. I think that would be perfect for me, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, that's pretty good considering. I mean, Florida right now, I'm in Florida. They have the opposite problem. It's like the building here is just like ridiculous. You turn around and it's just one thing after the other, right? And there's the communities out here where I'm at. It's like we've got new developments all over the place. Like where I lived across the street, like we used to be, be able to sit out, hear the cows in the morning. It was awesome. Hardly ever see cars. And now it's going to be this shopping center with like 2,000 homes and a park. And you're just like, oh my God, man. So it's kind of the opposite problem with inventory. But honestly, I mean, the way it's gone the last couple of years, something like here in Florida, it was like 70 some odd percent of agents didn't even do a deal last year. And you're talking about full-time people. So to do two or three, I mean,
Oh
that's
wow.
yeah, it was the market was just
Yeah.
election year and all that. It just people just were, especially this election, people were just
Oh.
really clenched, not knowing what's going to happen, and it was looking kind
Yeah.
of dire there for a minute, but we got through it. Um, so back to so when you decided, hey, I'm going to go into this Bow Disciples thing, you said you flipped the switch. What was the big change you like? So how did you dive in and start and go?
Hmm.
What was your process? What was your plan when you dove into that to say, okay, I'm going to do this to start generating revenue, and this is where I'm going to take this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say the biggest thing that has changed would have been, I guess, honestly, would have been just, it's hard to point to one thing because everything grew, you know? So
Yeah.
it's hard to say one, but I talk about it all the time with my old lady who basically she does a ton of back ends. I'm more kind of the idea guy, the
Yeah.
content guy, kind of have all the big plans and but she does like makes a lot of it happen. Like if I say,
Gotcha.
hey, I need this on the website and I need this to look like this, blah blah blah, she'll go get it figured out. So it's
Yeah.
super great. But I would, when I talk to her about it, I say our main revenue stream can grow, um, like guaranteed by our effort,
Hmm.
is the website, really. So I'm always trying to website more, promote it more, dump more money into the website so there's more on it, and
Yeah.
promote it more so we're getting every day, which leads to more sales, which leads to more items for people to purchase. So really, it's the website, really taking that more seriously as a tool.
Sure.
Our event is really big, and then yeah, that's about it. The things we can control pretty much, because tracks are fixed, for the most part. So it's
Hmm.
like I always am going to put tons of effort into those because I want to make the sponsors happy.
Yeah.
But that number monetarily is not really adjustable, at least during the year. Now, at the end of the year, maybe the negotiations can lead higher. So, of course, you want to do a good job. So next year the number's higher. But within the year, yeah, I mean, it's the way in the event, I would say. Because
Hmm.
even like, we're going to pump content we pump out regardless, but I can't, the algorithm does. Sometimes the channel's on
I know.
fire and it's crazy, and then other times, like right now, we're in a little bit of a downtime, and it's probably our lowest numbers in, I don't know, 8 months. Then, which right now, let me see on our analytics here. Um, so we're our lowest. Oh, and our podcast. Yes. So trying to grow the podcast, get that monetized, which should happen probably in the next month or so. That way, that's an additional revenue stream.
Sure.
But so like the last 28 days, our numbers are down quite a bit, but we're only doing only 647,000 views in the last 28 days, which for us is like probably a third of the 6 months prior to that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So those moments, creator, you definitely feel, right?
Sure.
You feel those declines, but I've been through it before. I've done it for so long, and it always happens like that. A great run, and then it will peter off. The thing is, as long as you just keep posting and stay consistent, you'll hit what I call
Sure.
the jet stream again. And so for me, I don't really get worried if the numbers are lower than they have been. I know it's not because of our output. It's
Yeah.
just because for whatever reason, our content's not resonating or the algorithm's not pushing it. There could be a multitude of things. So you just,
Sure.
social media wise, I think some of the best advice is when Instagram or TikTok, or Facebook or YouTube aren't showing you much. The worst thing you can do, and unfortunately, it's what most people do, start posting way less. That's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
If anything, you want to post
I
the
agree.
same or more, and then you'll get back in that jet stream. So, um, yeah, flipping the switch was just really prioritizing the website more,
Okay.
ultimately.
Yeah. So, and you mentioned the other big thing was this event you guys do. Tell me about this event. What are you guys doing with that? What is it?
Yeah, so the event is, it's called the Bow Disciples Challenge, the third annual. So basically, it's a 2-day 3D archery shoot. It's got 3 courses for like big courses for adults and larger kids, but big hikes, big shots, tough shots, and then there's actually a kids course which
Oh,
is
nice.
designed for like little kids, 12 and under. They're all small shots at like stores and fish, cool targets. And
Yeah.
then yeah, we have a concert Saturday night. It's a Saturday Sunday, so we have a concert Saturday night. We have multiple trucks, a coffee truck, giveaways, vendor deal. Every year it's scaled a lot. Like the first year I wanted it to be really raw, so
Okay.
it was still a great shoot. All the courses were fantastic, but I intentionally didn't want any vendors, kind of no fluff. We did have a food truck. Yeah, we had food. but we had no other vendors, right? Other
Uh-huh.
than our own booth to sell merch
Okay.
and check.
Why did you
Year
want to why'd you want to keep it raw? What was the thought process there?
I just think a lot of shoots kind of overdo the vendor portion, like a
Sure.
lot of the bigger shoots. There's so many of them, but sometimes it can feel a little overproduced to me. So
Hmm.
I wanted to kind of really focus on great shooting and like underproduction as far as the vendors go.
Okay.
That was year two. We kind of went with the same, but elevated the production a lot on sign. Our signage was good year one. Year two, it got even better. So it looked really good. Like when you showed up, it looked really, really good. Our check-in was super. This time I kind of just due to people asking, that is asking to be vendors. We did have a few that I said, okay, if you want to come, and it looked good. We had a good little setup where they were set up. This year, that year, we had two food trucks. So we went from one to two, had probably five vendors, not
Okay.
many. And then the only thing we charged was course sponsor. That was it. So the people that like, so for example, we had like the bow and arrow shop course, the pro shop out here. They paid a little bit of money for that year two. And in year three, now we're really flipping the production on. So there will be a lot more vendors. There will be more food vendors. There will be course sponsors once again. Those things will earn revenue this year, which is new. Um, but it's
Very
still going to
cool.
be super killer managed. Like one thing I pride ourselves on with the event is because I go to so many shoots as a participant, I know what a good course that people are gonna like. Like it got that wired. But number two is I'm always trying to look and say, okay, what is this particular event I'm at doing well and what are they doing poorly? And let's
Okay.
try to really do it all well. And I try not to only draw inspiration from archery events. I try to draw them from a supercross race or a snowboard event or a golf event. I try to any event I go to, I'm trying to say, okay, these are pieces that I would like to throw into our event. So it's run extremely well. And I'm proud of that. It runs really smooth from ticket sales to check in to wristband. Every single element is like well thought out.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so the event's a lot of work, but it does do good numbers and also a ton of fun. And one thing unique about doing a live event, like last year we had 230 people from 12 states, I think. This
Wow,
year
that's
will
good.
be, yeah, this year will probably be over 100, I'm assuming. It's interesting because you put so much effort into the lead up. And in fact, this year will actually probably be a little less work because now we got 2 years of experience
Right.
kind of adjusting when we start the building process. Like last year we started too early, so we dealt a lot with like regrowth. We'd cut something, it would regrow. So this year we're going to start about a month later. Um, we already have a lot of the signage that we're going to reuse. There will be obviously new stuff too, but um, when you put in all the effort of building, signing vendors, signing food, if I, signing core sponsors, doing all those sales, doing the physical building of hanging signs, courses, setting targets. When the event is over, like that Sunday when it's over and we go home and we get home at like 4 or 5 p.m., it's the weirdest feel. It's you're like so drained, but in such a good way. It's like an event is the most rewarding thing if it goes well,
Yeah.
you know? And there's always a little bit of stress because it's like, okay, I know we did everything right. Our setup's really good. I'm happy with every piece. The staff knows what we're doing. But there's always, especially like archery, it's outdoors. It's like someone could always fall and break their leg. An arrow could always skip off a rock now and 500 yards that way and hit someone in the leg. Like it's just
Right.
like you never know. It rattlesnakes, like it's in the summer. So there's all these what if it happens. So all we can
Sure.
do is prepare it the best we can. And then if something happens, react then. But thankfully, we're 2 for 2 on years with things going really smooth.
You got
So
the
I'm hoping,
chart up
hope,
there, the no
yeah,
no incidents chart,
yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping to be 3 for 3 on it, but yeah, an event's something different, man. It's like I
That's
never,
awesome.
it's different, but it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. In college, me and my brother did live. We did live concert events in Panama City Beach
Mhm.
during spring break for like the whole month of spring break. And I understand what you mean with the stress, but when it goes off and it's a success, it's a really cool feeling, But when you're walking the beach, I'm like literally, I was trudging miles on the beach at the time, just like walking up to people, trying to give them a t-shirt and buy tickets, get them to buy tickets to, a foam party or whatever the hell it was that we were
Yeah,
doing. And it was just
yeah,
like and I'm just like, oh my God, like you feel like nobody's gonna show up, that
yeah,
was
dude, for
you're
sure.
like, is anybody even gonna come to all this?
That's crazy. That is like I remember year one. We do ticket sales online, but you also can buy them in person. And I remember year one, you know, I think we had sold day of the event maybe 77 tickets, which is still like I would have been happy if 75 people came,
Oh yeah.
but I was kind of like I hope it's more, and it ended up being about 159, I think it was. So it was pretty good. So
Mm-hmm.
analytically it was about double paid in person. Year two comes around and I'm watching the sales and they're tracking ahead of year one. And then I'm assuming that, in person will be about the ticket sales like it was year one analytics. It ended up being a much smaller percentage came in and bought in person year two, maybe just because we pushed online sales more. We still obviously had a lot more people, but if it had been the same trajectory, it would have been like way even higher. So now year three, I'm thinking that the analytics will be relatively 1 to 1. Like most of the sales, I'm assuming will be online. But
Yeah.
the fact that you offer in person adds that unknown element,
Oh
you
man,
know.
so nerve
Be-
wracking.
I know, and I almost considered only doing online, so we just like we know everything ahead of time. But the problem is like a lot of the locals or like old timers that shoot at the club because we do it as like a collab with another place that does archery shoots, and we
Okay,
just run this one right.
cool.
Um, a lot of those people like are older. They're not going to buy online tickets, so it's like we have to offer both. But in a lot of ways, it would be nice to do it all online because then it's so easy. You know your exact numbers.
Right. In a perfect
Yeah,
world.
yeah, right.
Oh, it's yeah,
But yeah, that's May 17th and 8th. That's May 17th and 18th. So it's like
okay.
we're kind of just now ramping up, to really get it going. In fact, tickets to go for sale in 3 days. So
Awesome.
like I'm very excited and anxious to see like how the month of February goes sales wise compared to last year. And I always love that. Like analytics are so
Oh
fun to
yeah.
me.
It's great. It's really, I mean, in anything that we do now, there's so much analytics, like in, you know, football, for instance. I'm a big, huge football
Mhm.
follower, and it's like the analytics we have now to look at things and the percentage of probability and all this stuff. It's just very interesting. But yeah, I'll get the link from you on that, and I'm happy to share it around and try to help you guys get some more people this year for sure. Because
Appreciate that.
yeah, of course. I mean, I really love, um, like I said at the beginning, what you're doing with it, because we're in a time now with all the information and video and sharing out there. There's not many markets that aren't just like completely oversaturated and everybody's done everything there is to do, right? I mean, it's very rare. And I feel like not hunting, but the bow hunting specifically, I just feel like it's still in that phase where it's not that oversaturated. Like there's not a ton of people out there that have, that have a million people following what they're doing or multi-million people following. Like if you pick anything else, it's just like there's millions of people with millions of people following them what they're doing, right?
That's a good
Um,
point. I didn't thought of that. Yeah.
and I just feel like the space of and it's because it's hard to do, right? It's not for
Yeah.
everybody. It's not for
Right.
everybody, and it takes commitment. But there's a lot to learn from it, right? I mean, uh, I'm going to get into that here in a minute, but there's so much to learn from it in terms of that life lessons too and values. And it's just like sports. It's like any other sport, like, mainstream sport where you learn like so much from what I am is derived from growing up playing sports, and you learn those tough lessons. But what you're doing is creating that community around it and building it. Cause I think it's so rewarding for people to get into and to start doing.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it's just yeah, I really love it. So was that something behind what you guys wanted to do when you started really getting into it? Is, hey, we want more people involved in this, or are you kind of trying to, because I know some, with hunting, you're like kind of don't want too many people going in,
Right.
you know.
Right. Right. No, yeah, I mean, I think for me, the main thing is in the beginning, no, that wasn't my strategy in 2018, 19, 20. Like I literally was just making videos for fun. And so when I'm old, I can watch them with my grandkid or whatever of me hunting. That literally was it.
Yeah,
And then as people started to watch, I was kind of thinking, okay, well, videos at my local boat and their sales are like increasing a lot from us filming here. And they're seeing more growth, and new people are getting into it that I'm meeting that say, oh, I got a bow because I watched your videos or what have you. Now, I definitely would say my one of my underlying goals would be to more people into archery specifically.
yeah,
So I just want people to know you can have fun shooting a bow and you don't even have to hunt. If you want to hunt, that's great. Like I'm not one of those guys who is like and I've been hunting since long before it was, popular. So like I
yeah,
do understand I do understand both sides of it, but I think that if we want hunting to exist in the United States in 100 years, you got to have the numbers, or else
100%, man.
it would get banned. I fully believe that
Hmm.
especially if the numbers continue to go downward, we're in trouble. So you need the numbers to at least stay flat, if not go up. And the problem is, even if we grow hunting a ton in the next, not even hunting, you just got to grow hunting allies, right? And that's why
Yep.
more people shooting archery accomplishes that as well. But let's say we do a good job and grow it a lot in the next 10 years. The problem is when the boomer generation starts to die off or starts to not hunt, there's no way that the amount of young people getting into hunting is going to match or surpass that number. So there's going to be a big decline at that point in time. It's inevitable. Like young kids are not interested in outdoor activities.
Right.
I guess
It's sick.
for the most part, especially like one of the hardest ones to go to, you know,
Yep.
it's hard to get a kid to want to play soccer. Now
Yeah.
you want to go get them to hike 3 miles mountains and not see anything for 3 days? Like you really think with no cell coverage? Are you kidding me? So we need to not be like we need to not only evangelize, not literally, not religiously, but like
No,
you
yeah.
need to create so many more hunters because that boomer generation, people were having four, five, six, seven kids in family. People are having one, maybe two.
Right.
So it's like the numbers is just going to teeter totter like easy. So all these guys complaining like, oh, I can't draw a tag and this and that. I'm like, maybe right now, but who's to say in 15 years the amount of applicants drops like tremendously,
Absolutely.
and now you're drawing all kinds of stuff. Like we got to think a little more futuristic, I think. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
So I think I don't. think it's important, especially if we can reach the younger demo, which like that's always been part of my thing too, is making stuff that's actually fun and entertaining and kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff, there's plenty of educational stuff. There are plenty. And
Right.
I'm happy to do some sometimes if I have something that I'm like, you know what, I haven't seen too many people touch this. I'll talk about it. But I don't need to be another guy teaching you how to, I don't know, set a tree stand. There's plenty of
Right.
those. Like, you know what I mean? What you need, what I think I add value is me going shooting with like a mix of women, men, young, old to a 60-year-old to females, and everyone is having a lot of fun talking shit. It's hilarious. You
There
can
you
watch
go.
adults are laughing, the kids are laughing, everyone's having, and they watch it and go, "Holy shit, I go do that." And now because a whole array of people, 65-year-old can watch and go, "Oh shit, that guy's my age and he's shooting," or a little girl feet tall and
There we go. Yeah. I mean, it's just, so I'm always like, you said, back to kids not playing outdoors. And I think you're absolutely right in a decline, but also I think there's opportunity to look at it in one way, because I'm always saying that like social media is terrible in the way that it obviously is a huge mental health, causing mental health problems in youth, because they see all of these things. That's not real, right? Like people with
yeah,
all this money and these cars, and it's that, and they think that they don't have that at 16, so they're a failure, and
yeah,
whatever it is, right? And but the other side of it too, especially like for hunting and this, where kids don't want to go outside. But if one, they see you personally yourself having fun, like, oh, it's fun. I can do something with my friends and blah, blah. Well, also they see, you don't see online a lot of times, just like anything else, you don't see all the failures that go
oh
along
yeah,
with it. And in a way, it was with bow hunting, it's almost encouraging to not see that. For people that don't know, they're like, oh, I'd like to do that, right? And
yep,
maybe they try it, and they're obviously going to learn very quickly that it's not that way, and it's definitely not that easy, but it's, at least it gets them into it, and maybe they end up loving it, right?
yeah.
And you get addicted to it, like, and it's,
Mm-hmm.
so there's opportunity there, I think. And then, cell phone service, we're gonna have Starlink here soon, right? Everywhere.
Oh, dude, I just finally made the switch to iPhone. I've been a Samsung guy forever,
Oh,
so I
okay.
switched to Pro Max here. And I'm kind of at the moment not sure which platform I like better. It's to me, it's not a blowout either way, but I
Really?
will say the 16 Pro Max, it does have that satellite texting, which is
Yes.
very nice. So I do like that. But aside from that, still kind of think I like the Samsung better, but
Really?
it's
I don't hear
I
that a
think
lot, man. Usually it's like no contest. It's like once you go to the iPhone, it's like no going back. Everybody that I know has done that. They're like, I can't go back. It's too
yeah,
easy.
granted, I'm only to it, so we'll have to see maybe some more time. But for me, it's just like I think the screen like reactiveness and sensitivity on the Samsung is like a mile better, I think. Like it's
Really?
so much more reactive and faster. And then I love that it has fingerprint right on the screen or the face. So you can do either one, whereas the iPhone only
That is
has
nice.
facial. And then, yeah, other than that, I would say they're pretty comparable. But I really like those two features about the Samsung. So anyway, I got to think about it longer, but it's been fun to change, and
Yeah.
kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
try both,
How's the
but
camera
yeah, I mean,
comparison?
I would say similar.
Yeah.
I'm liking the iPhone camera, but I liked it just fine on the Samsung too. Like the video quality, I think I could film in 8K on there, which I think I can on iPhone as well. So which is nice because having a good camera on your phone, especially for me and what I do, is really important,
Oh yeah,
because I'm always doing video or photos or what have you. So, um, but yeah, I mean, going back to it, I think fun is the key. I think
100%.
that a lot of stuff in the hunting and archery space is not very entertaining. And I think that that is a hole that we fill. And at least in the beginning, we filled, and I think we still fill it now. And that's, I just think you're going to get more younger audience into it, which really is the key. And we've gotten a lot of younger kids, and I don't obviously have the analytics for like what
Sure.
ages other channels are bringing in, but I would bet ours is definitely probably one of the younger demos bringing in. And we also have um, a lot of viewership as well, which I think is pretty cool because
Yeah.
we put a lot of girls in the videos, and most archery and hunting channels really don't. So just the fact that we started putting women into videos, I've seen a big increase in the numbers of female viewership. So those are two things I'm pretty proud of because I
Yeah.
think that two of the demos that are most growable is younger folks and females. So I know fact we're nailing females because I can see it in the analytics that a lot are watching our stuff in comparison to other channels. Like generally it's like 1 or 2%. We're at like six or
Yeah.
seven. So it's pretty good. And then younger demo, which is tougher. YouTube's analytics with people under 18 are not very good. So it's tough to say, but boots on the ground, I would say our numbers are pretty solid with the younger demo as well.
It's good. I mean, yeah,
And I
that's
think that's
the key.
important.
That's the key, man.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
there could be, there could be a shift here. I feel like there's a lot of things happening that people are kind of turning away from being. Obviously people are, there's so much addiction to electronics, and you can't really live without, like, I couldn't do my job without my phone. I would go to a flip phone if I didn't have to have all this extra stuff. Like I would, and immediately, no questions, I go back to the big Nokia flip phone, with the walkie talkie. But
Yeah,
it
classic. Dude. It's a classic, that one. Yeah.
run over with a truck and it's fine.
Yeah.
But I think there's a shift too. Like, people are wanting to grow their own food. They're wanting to everything
Mm.
fresh in the health aspect. And I think people are paying a lot more attention now, starting to anyway, to mental health, physical health. And it could turn that way where we start seeing younger kids, because I feel like younger and younger people are more aware of it because there's more of an awareness online of that stuff. So you could see where it pushes people into wanting to be outdoors more, which lends itself to getting involved into things like archery and just whatever else is going on outdoors.
Yeah,
So,
dude, I would totally agree with that. Um, Look how many people, like you said, are into homesteading or farming
mhm.
or hunting, fishing. I think that people are realizing, how kind of maybe that was one of the pros of COVID was
Oh
people
yeah,
when it happened, people went, "Oh, well, if all of a sudden there is no food, I do not know what to do." And like maybe that was a good wake up call potentially. Also, I think people are getting more aware that like America as a country is not super healthy,
right.
and looking for options to get healthier. And I think that is a good thing. I mean, it's such a trip when you see like a picture of people on the beach in the 70s and there's
Oh
like
my god.
none, you know. And now it's like 50% at least,
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I think
It
people are starting to become more like, what is going on here and trying to kind of take it into their own hands a little more. I think that is happening.
Absolutely. And I think it's actually higher. I think it's like there's like 78 or 82% of Americans are overweight. Like it's a really high. It's a really high number.
That's
Which is why
insane.
like Ozempic's taken off, right? Which is terrible for you. I think in the long run, people are going to discover that. Um, my wife is a dietitian, so we're pretty healthy in terms of food and all that. So she works with the VA as a dietitian clinically. So I know way too much about food and stuff. And we talk about Ozempic is like the bane of her existence because everybody comes to her just wanting like, can you get me an Ozempic prescription? You're a dietitian. She's like,
Oh, dude.
that's not it. I
Yeah.
think if you're 400 pounds or 500 pounds plus, it's a great way to shed some weight so you can
Start.
start to work
Yeah.
out
Right.
or go for walks or but you have to. We had a really good family friend of ours that was super overweight like that and started it, and now okay, he's going for work runs, he's going for the gym, he's watching what he eats. Once he lost an initial 50, 60 pounds and started to feel better, I think that's the way you got to do it. But so many people are just doing that and not making any changes, and they look terrible.
Oh, yeah.
You're like,
No.
what is going on? Like bone
Yeah. Yeah.
degeneration. And it's just like, it's not going to be good. Um,
No.
it's
No.
not going to
Yeah.
be good. I mean, there is too
No.
skinny too, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
um,
It's interesting, but I do think it's good that people are that that push to, like I said, garden and things like that, or at least become more knowledgeable. Farming is cool, like lots of different
mhm.
things. So I do think
Yeah.
that's an improvement.
And you got stuff like, I've seen a lot. I've always loved Westerns and all that growing up, but it's like now you're seeing a lot more of those come back in the movies
True.
and show
Yeah.
like Yellowstone. Like Yellowstone comes out
Yeah.
and everybody wants to have a ranch in
Yeah.
Montana, right? Um,
Which is wild because for a long time there was no westerns, like none. They
right.
just were not a thing. And now it's like that's the big thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
Even Breaking Bad was based on a western, he said. When he
Was it
made it,
really? I didn't know that.
yeah, he wanted it to kind of have a western feel and aesthetic to it, you know.
Mhm.
So a lot of huge shows and movies are kind of going the western route. So I do think there's something happening for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, Mandalorian was another one. I don't know if you're a Star Wars nerd or anything. I am, but I love it. So Mandalorian was another one. I started watching that, and I was like, "This is a western. This is
Oh,
awesome."
really? Yeah, I
Yeah,
haven't seen it. I'll have to watch that because I've heard
yeah,
it's good, but I
it's
haven't seen it.
really good. It's like one of the few Star Wars things Disney's done well. Um,
Yeah,
the rest are kind of a little
yeah,
woke for me, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like this new Captain America. I saw on X the guy put out a video of Captain America, whatever his name, the actor. And he's like, yeah, Captain America. I just don't think that America is one of the things that he should stand for. I'm like, or
Oh,
something like
geez.
that. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking
Yeah, what are you
about?
talking about? That's crazy.
Like, gee, I
Yeah,
don't like talk about tanking a movie real fast before it even comes
yeah,
out.
for
Like,
sure.
unbelievable. So back to anyways. Now, fun part for me. I was curious about how's the season been for you this year? I've been watching a lot. Obviously, I watched the videos, but
Yeah, yeah, no, it's great. It's about over now, but really, it is over until
yeah.
I think I'm going to Africa soon.
Oh
I don't know,
shit.
next couple months probably. But domestically, it's done. So I had a good season. Shot a coup in August in the summertime, velvet buck, really nice buck. Then
Oh
went
yeah.
and filmed Brianna cow elk hunt. She got a cow, so I was hunting with her, filmed that. It was awesome. Came back from that. Then I did a little local hunting for like a few days. Didn't see it much, but then I went to Oklahoma, shot a few whitetails, all does, but that was a lot of fun, super fun trip. Went to Indiana as well, didn't get anything, but definitely passed some deer. And
Mm-hmm.
then I just got back from and doing another Coos whitetail hunt, and I got another good Coos whitetail in
Oh yeah,
January.
man.
So Yeah, it's been good. About wrapped up with hunting for a while, so kind of shifting gears to, you know, archery and 3D stuff
Yeah.
and our event and things like that. So actually next weekend I'm shooting a tournament, so that'll be fun. I haven't shot a tournament in quite a while, so
Yeah.
excited for that.
That's awesome. Where's that? Is that local?
That's in Yuma, so it's in Arizona. It's about
Yeah.
3 hours, 3 hour drive, not too bad.
Okay. That's awesome, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yuma's hot.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. We used to drive through there and it was just you're like, what is going on? Because we lived in Scottsdale for a while, outside Scottsdale, Cave Creek. And it was like you go through and it was hot there. Obviously, it's like 1:30. People don't realize like it's like
Oh
1:30
yeah.
there in the summer.
Dude,
It's
I know.
nuts.
It's insane.
And then you go to Yuma and you're like, this, you can't even get, I don't even want to get out of the car. You're like,
Oh, dude.
nope.
For sure. It is wild. Like in the summer, it's brutal. It should only be like I think 75 when we're there will be the high. So not bad this time of year, but yeah, I mean there's their summer's long.
Yeah. So when you go out, do you, when you're filming, you're obviously filming all the time, I assume. Do you um, record it, cut it, post it, or do you guys kind of block it out and save stuff for, off season, things like that, spread it out throughout the
Mm.
year? Do you backlog? Do you have B-roll ready to go? How do you guys usually like to do that?
Yeah, no, so usually we have very quick turnaround times generally. So usually if I film something, it'll be out in a week, two
Okay.
weeks.
So you just,
Uh yeah, so I always am just pumping out stuff. However, sometimes so we post every Sunday a full length video, and
mhm.
then we do short form on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube shorts every day, if not twice a day. And usually those shorts are cut from our long form. I'll just go in, find
Okay.
a bit, edit it, vertical aspect ratio, and then post them in the other places. So because I'm only doing once a week on Sunday right now, for example, I have, let's see here, I have one, two, three. So I have three videos that are not, they're not out yet, but they're uploaded.
Okay.
So that's 3 Sundays worth. Plus, I haven't need to edit. So I'll have a month basically
Okay.
of videos in a backlog, which is great, in a lot of ways because we just filmed a bunch of videos. But I also don't like stuff to be too dated. So because a lot of times we might be talking about something that's modern or current or whatever. So basically, what I'll do is once I get about a backlog of say 6 videos, I'll switch to uploading twice a week. So I'll do Wednesdays and Sundays and burn through them.
Sure.
Because and I may start doing that soon. I got a trip up to, like I said, Arizona. That's going to be 2 videos. So then I'll be up to one of these will be out then, but it'll be 5. I'll be sitting on 5 then. And then after that, I'm going to Washington and doing a bunch of collabs. That'll probably be at least 5 videos. So at that point, I'll have like 10 to 12,
Hmm.
in the back catalog. That's when I'll start dropping 2 a week. And then I'll do that until I have 2 left. And then I'll go back to doing once a week until I have a huge backfill again. So
Okay.
it just depends. Sometimes I don't have anything uploaded other than what comes out that week. Other times I'm just doing a lot of content due to trip or collabs or
Yeah.
whatever. And that's when I have to just kind of assess what I and then do the scheduling and then but it is nice to like tell the audience that hey, our videos come out every Sunday unless we got a bunch that we'll do Wednesday, Sunday. But for me it's when I get down to 2, I just go back to and then I know I have that week and another week to figure out what to film for the next video, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, 100%. So it kind of fluctuates whether Or
Yeah.
I have so much shit going on up here. I literally like my for reels and shorts and stuff. For the long form, obviously it's the shows, but the for reels, I literally just like face all of them are selfie. Just like I just start talking. It's just like I got something to say, and I'm just gonna go, for like a minute and a half, and I just gotta post it, whatever. And
Yeah.
people always think you always get that people thinking, oh, like what teleprompter are you reading off of, or what do you do for this? And it's like I no, it's just
Off the
talking.
cuff. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just I'm just like getting gas, and it comes to me. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna say that. Um,
Yeah.
it seems like you kind of are in that. It seems like you kind of do that a little bit as well, if I'm not mistaken. You're really good at coming off the cuff, or it seems that way. If it's not, you're
Yeah. Yeah.
a good actor. Uh,
I appreciate that. Yeah, I can something I've always been able to do pretty well is just vibe or talk or like that's why I really enjoy collaborations because even if it's someone I've never met, I can usually make the situation really fun on camera and feel natural and like a lot of times it, there's no conversation ever prior to like hitting record. It's like, hey, how you doing? And then it's like, all right, we just run the camera and then I'm good at creating a vibe and an energy, and
yeah,
grateful for that. But that's some of my favorite things to do. Is you're always a little nervous, like when you're filming with somebody for the first time or meeting somebody for the first time, and I love to just like jump right in full steam, and then like before you just film for a half hour. Like I
yeah.
love stuff like that. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's kind of what we did, right? Just kind of, I'm
Yeah.
the same way. I don't care who it is. I just want to talk to people and learn about people and all that stuff. And I just love hearing stories and all that, which is like, it's like I get all giddy, especially like topics like, like the bow hunting and stuff. I freaking love it. And it's just super interesting. I know I'm bouncing around a lot here, but, so you've obviously hunted. Have you been to Africa before?
No, this will
First
be my
time?
first time. Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
pretty. Yeah.
What are you
It'll
looking
all
to?
be it'll all be on film too. So I'm going to South Africa, to this place called Eland's River Safari, I think is what it's called. And yeah, it's a 7-day hunt, and I think I can shoot 5 different species. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get out there do that. And all I'm waiting on right now, I was going to go in February, but I'm renewing my passport
Yeah.
and it still hasn't come back in the mail. So I'm kind of at where I gotta kind of just like and see, and then when it comes back, then I'll purchase the plane ticket all
Okay.
planned out.
What would be
Yeah.
your what would be on your bucket list to bag over there?
Shoot, I don't remember the exact list, but it was like a gemsbok, impala, a zebra, and maybe a black wildebeest,
There you go.
and
Water buffalo?
no, not a water buffalo. I can't
No.
remember what the fifth one was, but I'm excited. Yeah, I don't even really care what it is. Like I'm just excited to go and have the opportunity. So
That's going to be a
it'll
different
be,
animal, man.
yeah, 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 for sure. So I don't know when I'm going to fit that in. The schedule's pretty slammed, but hopefully sometime in. I'm hoping March I can get out there. I would love to get it done in February or March. Those are like most open months. So
Yeah.
hopefully my passport arrives and I can get out there in March. I think would be perfect.
I feel like Australia would be badass too. Can you but
Yeah.
I don't that would be wild country, man.
Oh yeah.
I got some
Yeah.
friends.
Australia's big on bow hunting too.
Yeah, I have some friends over there from over there, and they're wild. They're freaking crazy, man. There's some of the nicest people, but they're like some of the craziest people too, man. Like, you know,
Oh yeah.
me and him will go out like if we're golfing or something, and like he'll have the gators biting his club head, because we're down there patting the water with the club, like they're growling at us. It's hilarious. And you're just, it's so funny. I'm like, you're nuts.
Class.
Like you're nuts, dude. But a lot of them, I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of them are the gators and that they're not bad, but sometimes in mating season, man, there are some dragons. that
Oh,
come out of the woodwork. It's insane. You're like, what is that thing? They're,
yeah.
freaking 15 feet long, 20 feet, and you're just like, and they're just massive.
Yeah.
You're like, that thing's been here before there were any people that ever set foot in this
Oh yeah,
place,
dude. It's they're crazy. I mean, it's like it is a modern day dinosaur for sure.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with them. You ever come down to the South and hunt at all?
I've only actually been to Florida one time. I went to Florida in 2024, never for hunting, but I'll probably go this year. Brianna family lives out there, so I'll probably go
Okay, of
this year to Florida. But I don't know that I'll hunt, but I'll maybe, but I'll for sure bring my bow and probably
course.
do some shooting and stuff.
Whereabouts?
They're
Florida.
in Umatilla.
Okay, I'm not sure I know where that is. The East Coast, what north, south?
I think it's like by Orlando. It's like
Oh,
central
okay,
Florida.
Central Florida. That's like, yeah, it's like 2 hours from here.
Yeah, nice.
But it's yeah, we over here, man, crazy boars. They're crazy. They're all,
Oh,
it's a problem.
oh yeah.
It's a problem.
Maybe we'll have to hunt some boars.
Dude, I'm telling you, I see like with all the building around here, people want you to just get rid of them for them, and which is the case, I guess, with pigs most places, right? They're just,
Yeah.
but it's I'll be driving down the road, like they'll some that get hit by cars. You're just like, what a monster, like
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Some of those boars get huge.
huge. And like my sister lives up in the Panhandle, and on a few acres, 15, 20 acres, whatever it is, and they get some big boys too. He always sending me videos, and I'm like, oh God, I'm like, just let me come up there and just sit in a tree and pick
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Good
Okay,
times.
yeah, man. But yeah, if you're ever in the area, I'd love to go out. It'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, uh, that'd be great. So, for me, last little thing, I respect your time, so I won't hold you up. But um, I want to hear the story. I was curious. What's your most memorable kill or hunt that you've been on? I wanted to hear the story. I'm always intrigued by
Mm.
that. If there is one that's the most like stands out
Uh,
from the rest.
yeah, there's a bunch. But one of my favorites is this buck I shot called Houdini buck, and he's a huge, very, very big old mule deer, and it's definitely one of my most memorable stories. Because long story short, I had glassed him several days, hadn't had a chance to stalk him. Finally, get a chance to stalk in. I'm in the right area. Eventually, his does kind of spook, and I had actually stalked like past, couldn't see them. And then he stands up about 55 yards. I draw, shoot, and it sounds like I miss, right? So he runs off out into the distance and just keeps going and going and going. I'm
And
like,
you
okay, I
thought you
guess I did
missed? You're
miss.
like, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It sounded like a miss. Looked like a miss. Uh, um, I bump into this rancher. What part did you hear last?
You thought you missed.
Okay, yeah. So I thought I missed Buck's running away. I find my arrow, and there's like just a couple hairs on the tip of the broadhead, but no blood, no flesh, nothing. So I figured I'd probably graze the top of Buck. A few days go by. I haven't seen him, haven't glassed him up. And I bump into this farmer or rancher, and he goes, hey, I saw this really weird, I saw this huge buck. He's got this typical five on one side, and then he's got like this really non-typical antler on the left with this like thing. In my head, that's the buck that I got a shot at.
Yeah.
And he goes, here's the weird part. It looked like it had a red ribbon tied around its like behind its shoulder. So then I go, oh, I see what happened. I nicked him right through the top of the back. Like, so I cut his back, fatal shot, obviously. So he's still rutting these does, and all he's got is a wound on his back that's like slowly
Mm-hmm.
dripping blood around his side, but it's not going to kill him. It's not a
Right.
fatal shot. So at that point, I'm like, okay, well, at least he's still here, and I'm gonna try to find him and we'll get it done. So anyway, long story short, a few more days go by, glass him up. Um, Ended up putting a stop. Took me forever. Went all the way around this top. Came around. His does were all there, and eventually his does kind of skirted off. He bedded up and stalked in. Took me a long, long time. Stalked in and ended up he was bedded, and then I was at 30 yards. Eventually stood up. I shot him again. This time, very good hit, and he went down and went down. So that's one of my favorite stories, just because it was obviously a very nice buck, but also just the whole story of shooting them twice and days apart and
Yeah.
everything involved is one of my favorite stories. So that would probably
Got
be
him.
one I'd throw in.
Got him with the rematch.
That's right. Yeah. I needed a rematch, but we ended up getting it done. So yeah, that's one of my
Hell
favorites.
yeah,
I
man.
think that was in 2018 or 19. So that's a while back, but a really,
Okay.
really cool hunt for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love hearing all the stories, man. I could talk for you all day. But um where so where can people find you if they want to follow you, get in touch, connect, if they want to go to your event or learn more about your event coming up? Um,
Yeah. Yeah. So learn about the event is all going to be on the website, bowdisciples.com. It's where you're going to buy tickets, get all the information, see the vendors, see the correspondence. The first 20 military people, past or present, that sign up are actually going to be free. So
awesome.
when you go to the website, first come, first serve, you'll have to give us your name, last name, and then some sort of proof you were in the military or are in. And yeah, we'll send you a code to comp that ticket. So definitely take advantage of that February 1st. As far as where to find us, yeah, the website, bowdisciples.com, but then yeah, Bow Disciples on everything: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. So super easy to find. And yeah, that's it. So I
Awesome.
appreciate you having me on. It was a fun chat. Sorry, my internet is being Fred Flintstone internet today, but I
All
still
good.
appreciate it. We had a good talk, so
Yeah,
we'll do it
man.
again sometime.
It was great to get to know you. And I like I said, I love what you guys are doing and anything to get people involved and help grow the hunting archery community. I think it's a great thing. And I think, more people can get involved in it. And it's definitely a better way to move towards something better than just being straight in this digital world where people don't go outside. Kids are stagnant. And I just love what you guys are doing. I'm really entertained by it, and you do a great job. And I'm happy to help try to grow the community a little bit. So yeah, thank you
Sick.
guys for listening. James, thank you again for your time. Please like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're the Extra Reverb podcast. Merch is on the store. All the proceeds go to help veterans with hearing disabilities. So please check it out. It's definitely worth a look. We got some great merchandise. I love designing all that stuff as well. So it's great. Anyway, till next time, guys. Peace out.